Okay, welcome. Here we are at 6 Oakmont and Oakmont Road in Wheeling, and we are in a very, very unique house. This house was built in 1933 by Wheeling Corrugating, which was a division of Wheeling Steel. It was an experimental building to show what a house of the future would look like, and also to determine the feasibility of the companies entering the prefabricated housing market. Although the concept was a success, the timing was bad, being a part of in the Depression, and then also the boxy kind of appearance didn't appeal to people apparently, and it turned out then that this was the only house that was built by Wheeling Corrugating. The architect on the project was from Cleveland. His name was Charles Bacon Rowley, and he designed a similar Armco Ferro Enamel house that was part of the Homes of Tomorrow exhibit at the 1933 Chicago World's Fair. 11 houses were designed for that fair and exhibited there, and 5 of these futuristic houses were later moved to locations along Lake Michigan, and they still stand today surrounded by the Indiana Dunes National Seashore. E.D. Pierre was the engineer in charge, and we hear that the foundations were masonry, the floors are wood over steel, the interior walls are plastered over steel lath. Practically all other components, including framing, pipes, plumbing, lath, and ceilings, are steel. All the parts were fabricated at the factory and assembled on site. The exterior walls are rolled steel, covered with porcelain and enamel, and they in the 1960s were covered by the current steel that you see on the surface of the exterior at this point. There were modern features in 1934. There were steel cabinets, range. The kitchen items were manufactured from sheet steel supplied by Wheeling Steel. An article in the Pittsburgh Press in the fall of 1934 featured 6 different futuristic home styles, including this one, and the article pointed out that the amenities such as a multitude of electrical devices already perfected and still being developed give the homeowner and housewife the equivalent of 800 servants. The article also pointed out that most of the homes had no cellar, but that wasn't necessary because the heating units were small, and that families no longer stored huge supplies of meat and vegetables in the basement for snowbound winter months. It was also pointed out the flat roof space could be a penthouse or a family playground, and they felt that a separate dining room was too great of a waste of space. The homes never caught on, unfortunately, but it was expected that they would be affordable, with prices ranging from as low as $2,000, which would be the equivalent of about $39,000 today, up to $5,000 to $10,000, which would be as much as $200,000 today. There was a housing shortage of some 5 million homes at the time, and they felt that homes like this could help to satisfy that shortage. And it was pointed out that families in some of these, the ones that were built on slabs, could be on land that was leased, and then the homes could be easily picked up and moved from neighborhood to neighborhood, kind of like the later mobile homes that were developed later. As I said, it was built in 1933. In 1944, Wheeling Corrugating sold the property to Mr. and Mrs. Maxwell Pellish, and then sold in 1947 to Pearl Sanker. And in 1961, William Widmer Sr. purchased the house, and then it was sold in 2001 to his son, William Widmer Jr. The house is empty right now, as you'll see on this tour, and was recently sold to Ted Maxwell, who's a former Wheeling resident and historic preservationist, so we're glad to have him back in the area. There are several smaller Lustron style houses in this area and in the Woodsdale area, but they didn't come until at least a decade later. So this truly was revolutionary and unique, and it's a thrill to be able to see it, and the leaving owner, Bill Widmer Jr., will lead us on our tour.
Hi all. Growing up in this house pretty much most of my life, born in Atlanta, Georgia, had two sisters. My grandmother and grandfather, my mom's mom and dad lived with us here as well. They were straight from Italy off the boat in the 1920s. So we all lived here until Mom and Dad moved over to the Overlook Apartments as they were getting older. And the house sat in the early 2000 for a year and didn't sell. So my wife and I were living out Chapel Hill, which was a drive every time the kids had a ball game or whatnot. So I ended up putting mine on the market and it sold, and we ended up buying this off of Dad. So right now I'm standing in the living room. This was originally a wood burning fireplace. I converted it to gas logs probably in 2001, 2002. You can just said it's open plan, so you're stepping right into the dining room. Obviously no forced air, so we have window air conditioners for the time period. The original windows were casement windows. I replaced those with double hung about 10 years ago. This is the kitchen area. Mom had this redone somewhere around 1969. There's a lot of examples of the old metal cabinets that were in here, and you'll see them next as we go into the laundry room here. These cabinets were the original kitchen cabinets.
Nice.
And we'll step through into the furnace room. The original furnace was a coal burner. They converted it to gas, which wasn't very efficient, and Mom and Dad put a boiler in probably in the mid-80s, I would have to say. The coal room door is right behind me here. It's where you would shovel the coal out. I broke the wall out when I was younger so we would have room to park a car in here. So come through into the garage area now, which by today's standards is pretty small, but I was able to park a Dodge Caravan in here. So above what you're seeing right there is an example of what's in the walls and floors. Those are on the squares, those are 9-inch centers. And when we put up the false ceilings, we just screwed right into the metal work.
Now, you might point out that although this looks like wood, this is also steel.
Yes, they're all steel. All the door, all the framing is steel. We'll go down into the basement.
It's okay.
Again, more examples of the cabinets that were in the kitchen.
Oh,
That's the clean-out chute for the
Wheeling
fireplace. You just shove your ashes down there so you wouldn't have to carry them through the house. You can shove them right out of there. And this is the crawl space underneath. I don't know if you can turn your light
no,
on.
I can't turn my light on.
There you go. And another good example of what the floors look like underneath the wood.
We'll have to wait till I get the pictures.
These are the piping for the radiators. So I never did insulate it. So back through and go upstairs.
Nice yard.
These are nice.
Yeah, this is the original staircase. Original banister.
You're welcome to come in. Our friends.
Growing
Good
up-
morning, Italy.
Growing up, this was my bedroom. I later turned it into an office. 2 closets. Some have one, some rooms have one, some have 2. Tile bathrooms. The floor's tile, the walls are tile. Had the tub replaced. The tank on the toilets, they're still original. That's the master with the bathtub in it. This is the secondary with the shower.
Oh, thank goodness. It's so cool inside. Okay.
This is the, coming up is the room that my grandparents lived in when I was growing up, and my son later on when we moved back, my youngest son. Only one closet in this room. That is a little plumbing access to get to the pipes behind the tub. And over here is just a little storage area. We used it as a medicine cabinet growing up. My 2 sisters lived in this room when we were growing up. Later, it was my oldest son's room. And that's the example of the closets. They're pretty much all the same. Again, one in this room. If there was a room with 1 in it, there was 2 on the other side. This is the master bedroom. And now we'll go up to the 3rd floor. This was my grandparents' sitting room when I was growing up. Has a walk-in closet. That sticks in the bottom. There you go.
All right, here we go.
I just stepped. There you go.
Got out. Whoa, look at the view.
Yes. The walkout deck, like I said, was originally planned. You could have parties, whatever you wanted to up here. The original cracked, and they ended up putting a hot tar roof on. I eventually put a rubber roof on, and
This is an
Yeah,
original
you can-
Wheeling steel house.
Charles' dad used to have a awning on here. He used to use the upper deck to sunbathe with.
Nice view of National Road. Okay.
Forest Road. The Wheeling Steel Home.
Great.
We're going to do an outside walk.
Thank you very much.
Get the outside plan.
Okay, we'll go downstairs. I'll get the outside. Go down to the 2nd floor. Down to the... Okay, we'll go out the front door. Hi. This was covered with steel siding later. We'll go to the back of the house. Little porch. Kitchen door. I think that's it. Tell everybody goodbye.